So in the next session, we have Dennis Plötner. I hope I pronounced well. And he's from Germany, but he's living in Italy nowadays. Something interesting about that he's been writing some posts in Italian in order to improve his language skills. So now he is fluent in Italian, right? So, and today he will be talk about multilingual WordPress for developers. Yeah, I love all those talk because it's something that we need to improve in WordPress every day, the multilingual, the accessibility, things like that. So please give it up to Dennis. Round of applause for him, please. Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Let me start with a short story. Back in 2010, I wrote a blog post about waiting for WordPress 3. So, because I felt that was like there was coming something that was really important, and at the time, or maybe a year before, I started blogging in Italian, and I felt like there was a lot of struggle to have a website really in your language, because themes were not really fully translated, or plugins did not work the way I expected it. And so I started to explore the multilingualism and to develop a plugin. So, and today, after 15 years, the situation changed a bit. WordPress is more mature, can do a lot of things, and we are still to talk about what developers can do with multilingualism. So I prepared the talk like I get you to some points that I think they are important, like starting from what is internationalization and localization, talk about the API functions, about translation files in general, and text domains, user settings, plugin territory. That's what we will talk about. So you will see some code on the next slides. And I worked on a companion plugin just to give you also the idea of how you can play with the functionality. Also like the different aspects like creating your language files and things like that. So if you take the QR code, then you are straight, you go to GitHub and you will have the repository. So first things, you probably saw all these numeronyms and you always wondered why and what is that. So it is about internationalization, localization, even globalization, accessibility, and personalization. These are the common things you see on websites. And you may wonder why do they use something like that? And that goes back to times when usernames had 8 characters at a maximum, and they started using numeronyms like that just to have a chance to get a longer name as a username. So we have it still today, and yeah, looks weird, no? So, but we will talk about internationalization and localization. You will see that we have an I that is lowercase, because then we have the L with the uppercase, so there's no overlap then having, you will understand that that's an I or an L. And internationalization, that is what we developers do. That is how we prepare our code. And so that somebody can simply say, if you did internationalization, the localization translation becomes possible. So after that, the part of the localization, that is mainly part of translators or polyglots team in our case. And so translators and product teams come in when it comes to localization. So let's have a look on the API functions. I grouped them in 3 groups, and you know probably the old Western, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. And just to get you stick to that, I prepared 3 slides with different groups of functions. So the good ones for me are they are easy, flexible, and safe. The bad ones, they are like a bit dangerous, I would say, I would state. I would also not use them. And the ugly ones, they look chunky, but at the end they are quite useful, and you can safely use them. But yeah, you probably just get the idea that they look weird. So the good ones, they are the classic __ function. You get a string and a text domain, and that brings back the translation. And then you have the _x function that takes a context. So even in you have maybe situations where you have a word that is the same, but in another context would have another translation. So you can use the function here, and that's quite helpful. And the _n function handles plural forms, and you can then give in a count, and that would decide which string is to use here. These are foundation functions, and I think they are used quite a lot, so stick to them. The bad ones, _e and _ex. Why wouldn't I use that? Because you can see there's a comment above that. If I want to have my code sniffer that would let me pass these functions without any warning and error, I have to put these comments in there, and then they will go through. But there's obviously a problem here. If you get a JavaScript or HTML or whatever malformed string, that can create problems in the output, but maybe even break your website. So I would not use them, and I would say we could safely, probably in the future, just say they are deprecated, in my opinion. Okay, the ugly ones, they look weird, but they do the escaping, and we have the __ function, but no escaping HTML, escaping for attributes, and so we can use them without having any problem when we put out our strings, and they are safe to use. So, yeah, be nice to translators. Because if you write a string as a developer, often you don't think about what another person see that string and then have to translate it. You can explain it. You can explain also what an %s is. Nobody knows in that case. You see the string, you see like a placeholder, and then you see, you can just guess, like, is it a product? Is it a name? What is it? You can give a hint to a translator, so you can be nice to people translating your things. And yeah, that brings us to functions like the, here some example. When you put in a string and you have something like D star, okay, and D stars. Yeah, you see the use of _n, but you see also the translator command. And a translator can then easily, in they show also these comments, they can easily understand what we are talking about. Like here is an output of PoEdit. And you see in the part on the right, in the bottom corner, you see the translator comment. And that's how you can help a translator. You see it also in WordPress in different ways, maybe more prominent. But in that case, it's always there. You can give the hint, and it doesn't hurt you, and it helps a lot, translator. So, we looked so far how we can provide translations with PHP. But internationalization, yeah, that is not just PHP. We have also JavaScript. And there are packages for JavaScript, and they provide functions they feel like the functions before. And so you can easily import the packages to get functions. They are an equivalent for underscore and other functionalities. And you normally would probably use the very same structure what you use in a PHP file or a PHP program. So if you want to go deeper, dive deeper into the functionality, you can just go in WordPress. You will find in the WP includes L10N file, which is a bit unlucky, because the package for JavaScript is called WordPress I18N. So it's like something not clear, or it was not clear in the past, maybe. And but you will find a lot of functions in there. They are very helpful, and it's also nice to explore what you get. It's not just in the documentation. So let's look into the translation files. Translation files, the classic ones like port, which is then just the catalog, PO and MO. You know them. PO is the text file. MO is then the assembled file what WordPress would load. There are new ones like the L10N PHP, which is a text file, much faster. Can make your website really fast, and the JSON file for the translations for JavaScript. So each one is quite important, and the L10N PHP files, where I said they are since WordPress 6.5, so it's quite new, but I guess if you load your translations, you get them automatically nowadays, and yeah, you will see it feels much faster. Also, these JSON files, they are in jet format, so they are quite easy to use. And for generating them, we have a lot of tools nowadays, like the command line, and we can just generate from a WP internationalization command. We can just generate these files, and in the companion plugin that I provided, you can see how that can easily be set up. So that is really helpful. In the past, it was like painful to generate these files. Nowadays, it's not anymore, and they are really well prepared. So before WordPress can show your translation, you will have to load the text domains, which is not really true. You will see it later on. But for all the WordPress installations, you will probably have to still to load your text domain. And normally, you would just use a hook for PHP, where you can load your text domains. In the earlier days, everybody said you have to load it on plugins loaded, which is not true anymore. You have to use the init hook, because if not, you just get an error or a warning in that case. And yeah, looks not so nice in your logs if you get it for every request that you are doing. So in translation files in JavaScript, they are quite similar to load on. And you can also here define the dependencies and call them WP set script translations. And that is, yeah, the way you load your JavaScript. There's nothing to have, you don't have to invent anything. That's still like the PHP loading. So WordPress can now, since 6.8, load automatically your translation files. You don't have to do that anymore. If your plugin runs on 6.8 and newer versions in the future, you can just not load it anymore. You just give the domain path and the text domain in the comments, and that will do everything. If you have a plugin that is hosted on WordPress in the plugin directory, that works since WordPress 4.6 or so. So you could also not load manually the text domain. So in that case, something happened here, which is interesting, and you have less hurdles. So we have the website, we have some user settings. We know that we can set them, and often as developers we just forget to honor that, what a user set for us. So it is what you can see here, for example. You can put in your date format, time format, and you can just take these settings and get option date format as your friend in that case, or with the functionalities of date internationalization, you get then a nice output. There's also another function not mentioned here, that's the WP time, which works also with time zones. And but that's the way you can honor the user settings, and that's, I believe, a good thing to do. So you can also have a number format functions. They work similar like the PHP native functions. So, but you get the output like set for the language that the user selected. So looks it formats the prices, statistics, any formatted numbers. Nice to do. So now we come to the plugin territory, which is probably something we should talk very often, because everybody talked in the last years about phase 4 of WordPress, and that multilingual WordPress would come, and still we are in phase 3, and would have to wait for these solutions. But if there are so many different solutions for plugins, plugin developers should then have a word on that, how we should implement functionality like that. So I guess that is a thing that developers should know. We should know how these different solutions work, like here in that case, the single site approach. It's often perceived as the simple solution, because you have your interface in one website, you have one database, same theme, plugin, whatever. But probably the price here is potential performance issues. You get vendor login, because that means if you one day you just choose to not use anymore that plugin, your website will look very different when you just deactivate that plugin. So you have done the multi-site approach. That is closely to how WordPress itself works. It's very scalable, and you have the content separation. It could be advantage or disadvantage. There are solutions for that. But at the end, for many users, it seems more complex setup. It seems also that editors would have a problem with changing websites when they work on the content. And yeah, that brings us to the software as a service solutions. These are probably easy to set up, and they have probably also, they don't change any site structure or so. But it comes with also that comes with a price, like the price to host for it and the price you pay for privacy. You don't know where your websites are or where your contents really are. They could be on other servers, or they pass other servers, and maybe you don't want that. And that's less control for that part. And at the end, there is, as I said, probably not one solution, because we should discuss more about that. But if you know the pros and cons as a developer, then you can decide or help with the decision in your team what to use. And then you can see what fits better in your case and what's important for you and what's important tomorrow, maybe, like in terms of vendor login, performance as the cons for the single site, or if it's a problem that the website is a bit more complex or is maybe still less intuitive, you can also work on that, maybe. Or here, in that case, the software as a service solutions, they come with that privacy and probably a high cost issue. So when you think about multilingual WordPress, you should probably start thinking about it at the beginning, not in the middle of nowhere, and then saying, oh, we need a solution for multilingualism. Then choosing the right architecture. Then we should think about translation is not just translated and then we are done. It's also, we have to escape our output. We have to think about also about our HTML, JavaScript, and all that. And yeah, as I said before, the translators give context, help them, and yeah, test your multilingual setup often, because that is also important. It's often underestimated, and but it's really important, as you know. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. So, and if you have questions.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, I think we have some time for questions. Does anyone have a question? No? Well, I have one prepared for you. Yeah. What's one thing developers often overlook when building multilingual WordPress sites? And why does it matter beyond just the code?
Okay. Developers should also, because I said we should work early on multilingual solutions. First, when somebody comes to us and says, okay, we need a multilingual WordPress website, we should ask the person and ourselves if we really need a multilingual WordPress website. And then we should think about, like, okay, there's also a price later on, support in that language. Can we really give support in the language that we have on our website? And yeah, ongoing translation costs and stuff like that. A developer should be aware of that. So, like, the groundwork before, that's often overlooked, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer. Yeah, we have a question here. Let me move there.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I don't have a real question, but I want to add what Dennis said. Context. The context is very important for the translation. For example, the word order can mean something to buy or to sort. If you leave it like simple order, it's very confusing for the translators. So please use context.
Yeah,
Thank
also
you very much.
explaining it, because if you use the context function, it helps, but still a translator should understand what you are talking about. So
We have time for 2 more questions.
You were talking about the ugly functions. If it would be in your power, is there any other thing you would like to change or rename or deprecate in the current system?
yeah, I would start with these dangerous functions, and probably the ugly functions, they are escaping, which is good, and we are then aware of that. So, but these functions, they, like _e, they just print out your translation. And we normally, we don't trust user input, but then we should also not trust translator input, which is the point here, I guess. I would make them obsolete.
Thank you. Any other question here? You can complete the speaker too. No, just kidding. Yeah, any other question? Okay, well, just 1 second. Okay, on behalf of the organizing team of WordCamp Europe 2025, I want to give you this gift.
Thank you.
So,